Hey, whippersnappers, this is Tortimer the Great. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Pixelmon on the PixelmonXO server. We are here in front of our evil EV training shop. Oh, I just realized that. Okay, we're done. Alright, so, as promised last week, when we built, or at least I showed you the EV training shop, the one school to train them all. I've done a little bit of creepifying since last time through in some cobwebs and a skull and some things like that. I don't know how I'm feeling about the vines on here, but we're gonna just let it ride for the moment, and I'll figure it out later. But Jay Seed had seen this. I hadn't shown it to him yet, and I asked him what he thought about it. And he was like, "Oh, you mean the Tower of Sauron or whatever?" So like he totally got what it was supposed to be, which is awesome. Very, very happy with that. He said it looked definitely very evil. So huzzah! But today, as promised, I've got my ranch block in my hand there. Actually, we are going to be heading. I've got some recordables to drop off. We are going to be heading out to Kaze's place. Actually, you may see down there in my party we have a little. Let's show them off real quick. We've got a little shiny Carvana named MN Sweet. This is obviously Max's Carvana, and he has entrusted him to us because we, as we just were looking at, we are the EV trainer on the server. That is our dedicated role. In fact, they're really, really protective about the shop economies on this server, so I think if other people attempted to do EV training, there would be issues. Like, I would have to put somebody in some cement shoes or something, I think. Which is actually why I wasn't planning, like, people kept asking me for help, and I was like, guys, I don't want to, like, impede on Studs' place. But then he ended up handing management over to me anyway, so that's why I'm able to help all these people. Now, what is this? What is over here? I need to go check that out. I don't know. Sorry, on my mini-map, I'm looking. There's some structure on my mini-map right over there, and I'm not sure what it is exactly. But we're heading over to Kaze's place because we're going to kill two birds with one stone today. We have to finish. I've been EV training Max's Carvana here. I'm done with special attack and speed. I'm making this guy a mixed attacker because the rest of Max's team is largely physical attackers, and while Sharpedo can function very, very well as solely a physical attacker, he also has some pretty popular mixed attacker sets, which I think will benefit Max's team considering he's got so much physical stuff going on there. I think that the special attacking portions of it will end up being truly very beneficial to him. But in line with that, well, not in line with that, but as part of that, there we go, I asked Kaze to take his ranch block out of here so that I could borrow his little setup here, because I mentioned last time we're going to be doing a little bit of Ditto breeding today. Ditto breeding is a new... Ditto falls madly in love with Ditto every single day, so perfect. So while we're out here EV training, these two will go to town. There is a... I don't know if it's a new mechanic or something that people just recently figured out, but apparently if you have two Dittos in here, they will breed, and it's kind of like a lucky dip sort of deal. You can get an egg for literally anything. That's how we got our Mewtwo from Max. So I mentioned that a couple episodes ago at the very least. Yeah, that's how we got the Mewtwo egg from Max, which is why we're training this Carvana as our payment for that. But I finally got a second Mewtwo, or Ditto. I had one Ditto, an Adamant Nature Ditto, and I think I got a second one from Jay? It was either from Jay or Rad. I was online with a couple of people the other night, and somebody, I think it was Jay, he was out searching for Dittos, and he only needs two, and he had just caught his third one, and so I was like, oh man, I could really use one, and so we traded for that too. So maybe I'll have to do some EV training for Jay at some point. I don't remember what I gave him in exchange for that Ditto, if anything. But yeah, so we have to finish EV training this Carvana in attack. Because we again, we're doing this the special or the mixed attacker thing here, and so we've finished the special attack and speed, and now we need to get into the attack. So generally, how I do my EV training on the server, let's see, we're gonna just go through. So I generally do switch battling for EV training always, because usually I'm EV training weaker Pokemon, and Oh, Weezing got experience there. I was like, wait, who's getting experience? I generally do switch battling, partially because I usually end up EV training weaker Pokemon, because generally that's when you want to EV train something, is before it's had really any real training, but also because it makes it easier for me to keep track of. As of yet, I have not convinced them to allow me to... wait, did it miss? Must have. I have not convinced them to allow us to install the server's Pixelmon side mod for IV EV training, which helps you to keep track of things. So what I generally do is I take a stronger Pokemon who's able to one-shot Pokemon, and so I do math. I basically end up generally grinding on Pokemon that give one EV. So then with the power item, you end up getting 4 EVs from that, which gives you 5 EVs total. And so I generally just kind of calculate out, okay, so how many Pokemon do I need to kill? And then I generally will use like the PP of that the Pokemon I'm using to help grind, to help keep track of it. So like I was doing speed with this Carvanha just a bit ago, and I needed to kill like 30, it ended up being like 30 Pokemon in order to get the speed EVs I needed. And so Weavile's Ice Shard just happens to have 30 PP, and so I was like, okay, well, since Weavile pretty much one-shots everything, especially since I speed EV grind on Magikarps, it's really easy to one-shot, and so I generally will go and like, okay, so once Ice Shard PP is gone, I am done EV training that stat, and usually, so like if I'm doing a full stat, so this one, Carvanha being a mixed attacker, we're doing more of a spread for his stats than I generally do, because usually K's just gave me Swagger, yeah, well, K's just gave me a Beldum that he wants trained, and largely I think Metagross is generally you want to go for like attack and speed maybe there. I don't really remember exactly off the top of my head, but generally if you're grinding a Pokemon, you're doing like putting 252 in 2 stats, and then you may have like 4 little nubbins in something else, but usually I'll knock out those little nubbins, so I'll put the 4 EVs in, defense or whatever stat that one is supposed to be going into, and then I'll go do my other 2, because it's just easier to do it without, because generally I'm not super nitpicky with it. Like if it's 252, I generally just go to 255 or whatever, or I kill enough people that it would be 255 because it maxes out and it doesn't really matter. So it may not be like perfect on some of mine, just because I tried being like perfect down to the single point on Decimon with all my gym Pokemon, and that they were fantastic, but that was also really stressful. So like when I did my offensive team on that server, I was not quite that picky. I wanted to get as close as I possibly could. So maybe within a couple of points I was off, just because I was rounding up a little bit, but large in a way it's going to be good enough. So generally that's how I do it. And once we get the, I'm pretty sure I've got Max convinced. I think Max just needs to convince the rest of the admins that it's a good idea, and because there's no client-side requirement on that mod, it's purely server-side, so there's nothing that anybody else on the server is going to have to do, and if they don't want to mess with it, they don't have to. It's a Pixelmon created side mod, or at least Pixelmon approved. They've got it on their website for download. And it's I believe just commands. There's no interface, or nothing changes unless you... Ooh, hey there. Flinching me, you little trampage jerk. So for those of you guys who are not real familiar with EV training, you may be really confused right now as I'm thinking about it. But EV training is generally done for more competitively minded battlers who want to make their Pokemon even stronger than they would otherwise be. And every Pokemon that you defeat will give EVs along with the experience, which is more visible. I'm pretty sure I probably got this at this point, but yeah. I've pretty much gotten all the loots in and around Case's area. I spent a lot of time out here because he has biomes very similar to what I had on the Decimon server, which I became very fond of in my EV training endeavors. Deserts are really... Deserts bordering on savannas, which his is, are some of the best for EV training because you get lots of access to people who... like right now, Trapinches give attack stats. So for every Trapinch you kill, your Pokemon any Pokemon that gains experience off that battle gains an attack EV. Now everybody on this team right now, besides this Carvanha, are EV trained. So Weavile and Weezing are getting experience, but they're not gaining any EVs because they are totally maxed out on their EVs. Because you can have a total of 510 EVs. But as we do this, this Carvanha is gaining attack EVs, 5 attack EVs per Trapinch we're killing at this point, because of the power item that he's holding on to. It boosts the EV gain, and so he is getting attack EVs, which is boosting his attack stat. And so I've done a video on the Decimon server with JSeed where I went into great detail on all of that. If you guys... let's see, we're flinching again now. Come on. There we are. So if you guys are interested in getting more in depth with that, you guys can check that out. Or I think, as I said before, I think at some point Huck and I are going to probably do a more technically minded EV-centered episode. So that should cover all of your ideas as well. But I think we've pretty much covered the basics for what you need to know to keep up with what we're doing here. But yeah, so we're EV training this guy. I'm going to actually, here in a second. Well, actually, we'll go till nightfall, I think, because at that point, I think the Trapinch spawning drops off, and it's just about to become night. So as soon as it gets dark here and we can't find another Trapinch, we'll run back and check on our Dittos. Usually, gosh darn it, this Weavile is flinching a lot here. So yeah, let's, we're close enough. Let's run back. If we see a Trapinch along the way, we'll kill it. But we're also out here doing some Ditto breeding. They should get friendly very quickly with Case's setup here, so it shouldn't take us too long. Okay, so they're still clicking along. What I'm going to do is I think probably cut here for a minute, and we will come back in daytime and continue doing our EV training. And also, hopefully, our Dittos will have kind of gotten it on a little bit, and we'll see what our first lucky egg dip is going to be. So, man, lots of Marowaks around here. Would love to be killing those, but I'm like a canine dog. Once I put my EV training stuff on, I'm a very single-minded, job-driven person. No playtime for me. So yeah, I'll bring you guys back when we are daytime again, and our Dittos have had a little more time to ruminate with each other, and yeah, then we'll continue our EV training Ditto breeding extravaganza. So I'll see you guys back in just a second. Alright guys, welcome back. It actually ended up taking a couple of night cycles, because I forgot that even with, like, so Case has got his setup super maxed out. These guys on the cakes or whatever, they get to breeding as quick as possible in this mod, and the fastest they can get to it is like 37 minutes. That's the quickest rate that you can get through all the breeding stages. You now see that they've got the little... Maybe I have to claim this egg. Okay, so let's claim the egg. They should have little red hearts above their head. Step out, so this maybe resets. Does this start at the beginning every time you do an egg? That would be really disappointing. I thought that maybe they have updated it. At one point, it seemed like they would just like crank out forever once they kind of got in the frisky mood there. But all right, well, we'll let that run, I guess. But I think if we come, okay, so if you click on it, it'll tell you what's in the egg. So we've got a coughing in our egg, which is obviously not like great. I was hoping for more a legendary or something like that, because you can get really anything, apparently, except for Misdreavus. Misdreavus won't be bred at all, because you had to get it from like that Halloween event or something. But so yeah, there we go. We got a cuffing. We will hatch this thing just because. But I did also finish. Let's take a quick look at. You'll see. MN Sweet, our shiny Carvana, is no longer on our team. Let's run over here to the PC and we'll take a quick look at that. So Max gave me his shiny Carvana to do as part of my payment for Mewtwo. I think I'm gonna do like 2 or 3 Pokemon for him as payment for the Mewtwo, because it was just really cool of him to give it to me, and it was one of the first. I think it was the first Mewtwo on the server and everything like that, so he was really awesome about it, and so I think I'm going to do 2 or 3 Pokemon for him. But that's the first one, MN Sweet, which I named them just to keep them straight. Like, this Beldum's name is Kaze, this Groudon name is Kaze. Kaze must have bred up this Groudon as well, and so obviously, you know, it's he wanted those trained. But yeah, so Carvana is done, did attack and special attack and speed. So obviously, you know, not huge boosts right now. It's just level 22 or whatever, but attack and special attack are close to level there. Obviously, that gap will widen a little bit as we go. Speed will continue to outstrip the rest of these as well. But fully trained. And so I'm not going to do like leveling and stuff for them. I'm just going to be doing the EV training, and then they can continue to do the rest of that on their own. Kaze has, for his guys, he wants me to prioritize this Beldum. It is a shiny, so you unfortunately don't get real great choices in terms of natures and things like that. So unfortunately, this thing is attack deficient with boosted defenses. And I was looking on Smogon. There's really no like defensive kind of. Well, there is. If we look. I think there was a single tank set for this guy, but it still relies on, it's still an adamant nature that they're looking for. So pretty much you want an adamant natured guy, except for there's one set where they look for a jolly. But either way, you don't really want one that's going to be attack deficient. There is a mixed attacking one, but its special attack stat is so low. I mean, it's even with attack being lowered, its attack stat is still going to be stronger than its special attack. I honestly, so right now, looking at this at 20 and 18, I don't know if the gap's going to widen a lot, and I should be going for attack over the other. But for now, even in the, let's see, where's this mixed one again? Mixed attacker. Even in that one, we're going to do a full 252 into attack. And so we're going to do that for him. He wanted me to try and make this guy work. And so we're going to do that. Let's nope, not on the egg. Oh, I hate that this does that still. Alright, so we're going to put the attack. I ended up naming all of these on an anvil because there was one time where I put them all in a chest and I threw them back in here, and I'd gotten these two mixed up, and I ended up accidentally EV training one of my guys in defense instead of attack or something. So I've since named them, so I don't have to rely on myself at all to get it figured out. But Kaze wants me to make this shiny Beldum work, and so we're gonna be trying to do that for him. Dittos, are you? Yeah, they're back at the beginning. Well, that's frustrating. Alright, well, I think we'll probably call it here for today. We ended up getting Kaze's fully EV trained, and so that's awesome. We'll have to get that to him. Kaze has paid me. I think I've decided. Ooh, let me get away from this portal. I decided, I was thinking on payment and stuff like that, that I'm going to have people pay me a block of some. Oh, wait, I saw a heart. Was it? Oh, it is gray. So yeah, it started right back at the beginning. That's unfortunate. I'm going to have people pay me a block of something. I told Kaze, block diamond, emerald, or gold. I'll let you decide. He was like, all right, I'll give you some diamonds. And so he paid me I said a block per stat. And so if I decide, let me know. Well, you guys won't see this in time. I'll have to talk to some people who I know who have some ideas on more competitive sets. If I should go with this mixed attacking one over just bothering going straight attacking. I'll have to play around with it a bit. Maybe I'll get on Showdown and play around with what those stats will look like at the end. But yeah, so he paid me a block per stat that I train. So if I EV train like attack, they owe me a block of something or speed. And so at this point, if I do mixed, I'll probably just end up throwing in the third one for free because technically you're training attack, special attack, and speed on that one. And normally I would just throw in the third one for free anyway because it's usually so low. Now, like on the Carvana, when I did that one as a mixed attacker, each of those stats had at least like 100 points in them, so I would charge for that. But if it's like 4 points in defense or something like that, and this one's only like, and the mixed attacking one for Metagross, it's 28 in speed, so it's a little bit more, but not a whole lot. That'd be like, 5 or 6 Pokemon I gotta kill or something for that. So, not too bad. But yeah, so we're gonna call it here for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. We got some good EV training going, and a little disappointed about the breeding thing, that it resets back to the very beginning once you get an egg. Makes total sense, but I don't think it used to do that, which was much nicer when it didn't, because you could just crank things out a little bit easier. But still a very cool mechanic. We got a coughing out of that. Maybe I'll set something up. I was gonna set something up out of my base, but unfortunately I'm like never at my base. And there's really no reason for me to be. Maybe if we go to like do some gym building or something in the future episodes, which we probably might do. Somebody gave me a good suggestion for like doing like the Team Rocket Game Corner base underneath, where you like have a maze and like warp panels and things like that. Or was it which one's the rocket? Was it a rocket base where like you have the different panels? You got to flick the switches, and you got to hit the switches in the right order to get the panels to open. Kind of almost like the portal thing that we did with K's that Max had set up a couple episodes ago. Something like that could be interesting. So we may try something like that. I'm still kind of not settled on what I want to do with the gym from here, but we may do some of that next time. Otherwise, we'll probably just continue to do some training, because that's what I've got to do now that the shop's open. I've already got 3 Pokemon. Well, I finished one, but at the beginning of this episode, I had 3 Pokemon in my care that needed to be trained. So we'll continue to do that. I thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see. I'll let you guys know if I get anything interesting out of the Ditto breeding. I might set something up somewhere. I don't know. Or we might just engage April and be like, hey, I would love a Groudon. She's not going to be able to do that for me, though, in all honesty. Like, some people were worried that people were breaking the economy by doing this Ditto breeding themselves. But if I told April, hey, I need a Groudon this nature, that's going to take her years to crank out, because it's totally random, and you can't actually breed legendaries. So I may put her to that task and see if she, like, caps out her prices at some point or something, because I'm not paying. It's like at a gold block per attempt or something, I think, like, and I'm not paying those kinds of prices for that. But yeah, if you guys think of anything cool that we should breed, let me know. Otherwise, we'll probably just let these Dittos roll. I'll take it back home, so I'm not bothering K's setup here. But we'll let them roll and just kind of and see what we get. But it's more of just like a lucky dip kind of cool thing than it is like, oh, let's get something useful. But yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Tortimer the Gray, and you guys have been great. Make sure to do those likes, comments, and subscriptions for me, guys, and I'll see you guys back next time. Have a good one.